Quantum control is a suite of 9 MIDI generating devices, all developed in the Mozaic app by Bram Boss. They provide a comprehensive and interconnected set of tools for jamming and producing music in doorless environments like AUM. Quantum Control version 2 includes a deep integration with the Novation Launchpad, allowing nearly every function to be done on the Launchpad with bidirectional colour feedback. Quantum Control grew from my desire for a MIDI device that could transpose incoming notes in real time to the notes of the current chord in a chord progression. That desire led to the development of the Chords device. From there, 8 more devices followed that provide compositional tools for making drum patterns, melody, harmony, and chord progressions, as well as other devices that offer a solution to some of the challenges of doorless iPad music production, such as clip and pattern sequencing, automation, scene management, and MIDI control of instruments, effects, and the AUM mixer. The QK devices are organised into 2 MIDI channels in an AUM session and are connected via the AUM matrix. MIDI and SysX flows from and sometimes through the QK devices and then onto instruments in the AUM session. This flowchart shows how the QK devices are connected to instruments, controllers, and AUM. The quantum control devices are shown in green. Scenes is the master scene controller. Sequence is the master pattern clip sequencer for your piano roll app. You can sequence piano roll clips within scenes. Beats and notes are scene-based rhythm and melody sequences and pattern generators. Chords quantizes incoming notes to the current chord and receives MIDI from notes and your piano roll app. Autom automates instrument, effect, and mixer parameters. Control offers MIDI control over all your instruments, effects, and the AUM mixer. Nonc is an adaptive keyboard that updates its layout when the instrument channel is changed. This complex web of interconnected devices is much easier to understand when we look at the controller layout. The Launchpad takes care of all Mozaic buttons, whilst the Twister takes care of the Mozaic knobs and some selected track controls. The Launchpad and the Twister integrate all the quantum control devices into one unit. Quantum control runs on the Launchpad session mode and provides full color feedback of all the QK devices. The layout is as follows. The top row is where you activate the session mode and control AUM transport. The right column is for scene navigation. The bottom 5 rows are dedicated to MIDI control over instruments and effects. Instrument track selection is handled using rows 4 and 5. Rows 2 and 3 are for control of the selected instrument parameters. The bottom left quarter of the Twister are the knobs for the selected instrument parameters. This represents the control device. The knobs on the right half are for mixer control of the selected instrument and have knobs for volume, pan, filter, sends, mod wheel, and master volume. The bottom row is for GUI toggles, Mozaic shift buttons, and other general purpose function buttons. Row 8 brings into focus one of the other 8 configurable QK device slots. Once selected, rows 6 and 7 control the 16 pads of the selected QK device. The top left quarter of the knobs on the Twister are for controlling the selected QK device. Now we have an understanding of what quantum control is and how the devices are connected. Let's take a quick look at each device. The bottom half of the launchpad is dedicated to instrument control. For that we use the control device. I can toggle the GUI with this button. The shift button toggles the settings mode. I can select my channels with these two rows of buttons. I can select the drums channel on channel 1, and I can come over here to the pluck on channel 6. Pressing the button again toggles the instrument GUI, and once in the instrument page I can select a parameter, e.g. volume, and then use the value knob to control that parameter. Then I select a different parameter, send to, and control that one with the same value knob. Selecting the pluck instrument, I can use buttons for mute, solo and arm, and across 4 different pages of parameters for each instrument. So that's the bottom half. In the top half I have this row to select one of 8 quantum control MIDI devices. Pressing the button brings the GUI into view. The first one is scenes, where I can select my scenes either on the right or using these buttons. Selecting a scene allows me to update the duration in all QK devices. The second slot we have the clip sequencer, where I can sequence clips in each scene by selecting a clip and then choosing a pattern or clip number to sequence, or I can go into the trigger mode and I can trigger clips by pressing the button for the clip that I want. The third slot is Nonc. Nonc is an adaptive keyboard that updates its layout depending on which track I have selected. Change to the bass track. Autom is my scene-based automation generator, where I can set quick ramps from minimum and maximum with one press of a button. And set up 16 destinations with these ones. Each one has a color and a label. And then in control mode I can select parameters and use the control knob to MIDI control that parameter. In record mode I can record automation whilst I'm in playback for each destination, and I can also go into the editor, select a destination and edit the automation per beat. Beats is my rhythm sequencer, where I can sequence 4 channels by selecting the channel and stepping in. Notes for each step. Each step can play any note. I can also generate sequences by selecting a channel, selecting a type to generate, and then using the generate knob to generate kick, snare, hi-hat and percussion patterns. Notes is a melody sequencer that works in a similar way, where I can sequence notes and also tie notes together. I can also generate sequences here by first selecting the rhythm and using the generate to generate a rhythm, and then selecting melody and then using generate to generate the notes for that rhythm. Lastly, we have chords, which is my scene-based chord progression generator, where I can set up my chords, and when I press the chord, it sends out the chord to all of my destinations. So let's take a listen to a little piece done in quantum control. We'll select scene 1, go to song mode so it cycles through all the scenes, and press play.